Hello everyone and welcome to the Jackson and June Events YouTube channel. And today we're talking about engagement in kind of a different light than maybe you would if you went to Google and typed in, how do I plan a wedding or wedding planning timeline. If you do that, it's going to come up with 5 million to-dos, and that is overwhelming. I will tell you, that is overwhelming, especially if you're already stressed about engagement. So we're going to break it down in a strategic way. We're not talking about little bitty details today. We're talking about big picture. How do I need to look at engagement? And you do not need to look at it as a big mountain or bear standing in front of you. Just break it down and you're going to be fine. So first, I want to go over the 5 strategic areas of wedding planning. Number 1 is pre-planning and setting. Number 2 is booking the big ones. Number 3 is the nailing down the next round. Number 4 is festivities and communication. And number 5 is details. Now, that probably made no sense to you, but don't worry, we're gonna break it down. So, number 1 is pre-planning and setting. So this is gonna be in your first 3 months of engagement. The strategy is to set the scene. What do you want your wedding to look like? How much do you want to spend on your wedding? Do you want it to be light and airy or darker colors and kind of moodier? This is when you're going to decide this, because you and your fiance may have talked about it before, but you may have no idea. So in the first 3 months, you're going to set the scene, set your budget, set your date, which that means you have to book your venue. So you're going to set that tone, and your venue's going to go along with that. Do you want to get married in the city or do you want to get married in the country? So basically you're setting that scene and then booking your venue and setting your date. So that is pre-planning and setting. Moving on to number 2, the second strategic area. This is going to be in your 3 to 6 month mark in engagement. So basically, you know what you're going to spend, you know what it's going to look like, you have booked the venue and set the date, and now you're moving on. Now you're moving on to booking the big ones. So when I say big ones, I mean the vendors. So these vendors are going to be the bones of your wedding. If these vendors aren't there, your wedding's probably not going to happen. So these vendors are your planner, your caterer, your photographer, and any other big ticket vendors. So these vendors are pretty essential. Your videographer, if you're going to have one, like I said, the backbones of your wedding. And then at the very end of that second milestone in engagement, so your 3 to 6 month mark, you're going to send your save the dates. So that, again, that's at the 6 month mark. So moving on to the third strategic area of engagement, nailing down the next round. So after you get those big ticket bones of the wedding vendors booked and taken care of as soon as you can, then you're going to move on to the more granular vendors. And these vendors are like your makeup artist, your photo booth rental, your car rental, any sort of fun linens you're going to get. So these are the pretties. These are the sprinkles on top of the cake, and book your cake in this time frame. So think about it as your additives, like I said, sprinkles on the cake. That is your next round of vendors. Moving on to the fourth strategic area of wedding planning, and that is going to be communication and festivities. So this is going to be around that, 9 months or 9 months of engagement / 3 months until the big day. That's going to be this time frame, and this is when you're going to start communicating things to your bridal party. Like if you're going to have a bridesmaids luncheon on that Friday, you need to let them know at least 2 to 3 months in advance so they can ask off work and make sure they can be there. You need to be communicating any big ticket things to your vendors. Like, we decided we're not going to do a first look. Your vendors need to know that pretty early. So start communicating these big things, because you've already set the stage, you've booked your big ones, you've got your pretty add-on vendors, and now you're ready to start executing all of these plans. And then this is also when your festivities are going to come into play. So your bridal showers, your bachelorette party, all of that fun stuff, that's going to be at this 9 to 11 months into engagement and 2 to 3 months out from the wedding. So the fifth strategic area of wedding planning is going to be details, details, details. And this is 1 month out from your wedding. At 1 month from your wedding, you need to have everything ordered. So your jewelry, your garter, your candles, your centerpieces, anything that you need to outsource and order needs to be ordered by that 1 month mark. Then you can start thinking about other little details like gifts for your parents, gifts for your vendors, tips for your vendors. Those little details, that comes into play at the 1 month mark. So basically, if you're sitting at the 6 month mark, 6 months out from the wedding, and you're stressed about little details, know that it's okay. You can, as soon as you hit that 1 month mark, you hit the ground running with those little details, but don't get stressed about them until then. So, like I said, if you're following these strategic big chunks of time and thinking to yourself, okay, is this a big backbone vendor, or is this somebody I can wait a little while to book? Or is this someone I need to book like right now? That's kind of how you think about it. Just breaking it down, taking it one day at a time. And if you do this, your wedding is going to be beautiful and flow seamlessly. So if you need any help, let me know, and happy wedding planning.